Season 1 of Battlefield 6 is off to an incredible start, but it's also a pretty mixed bag of offerings that range widely in quality, execution, and balance. And while I genuinely applaud the devs for taking some big swings with new systems and experimental game modes, it's become clear where their strengths lie and where they're a bit out of their depth. Season 1 is an impressive leap forward for the game in terms of systems, performance, and content, but it also lays bare the core strengths and weaknesses of the Battlefield team in a way that makes the experience incredibly fun, yet at times uneven. But before we dive in, if you enjoy in-depth reviews, breakdowns, and discussions on all things Battlefield, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's jump into my first impressions of Battlefield 6 Season 1. And if you just want to skip ahead to my thoughts on RedSec, check out the chapters below. Right off the bat, it's easy to see where the developer's strengths still shine, and it's the core multiplayer. Season 1 builds on the existing experience with a handful of excellent additions, the standout of which being the phenomenal new map, Blackwell Fields. It's a large-scale, all-out war classic that brings back that signature Battlefield chaos, filled with personality and surprisingly solid balance, aside from the frustrating issue of AA being able to shoot directly into enemy spawns. Even with that issue, Blackwell Fields stands out as the single best piece of Season 1 content so far, and if I were ranking maps again, I would easily land it near the top based on my time in both Conquest and Breakthrough. The mix of balanced elevation, meaningful lanes, and vehicles feels spot on. Alongside that, the new weapons are a welcome touch. The 300 SC carbine is my personal favorite so far, as it's a pretty good looking and deadly close-range option. Throw in the dozens of bug fixes, balance tweaks, and improvements to challenges, and multiplayer after Season 1 feels more refined and more rewarding. The new experimental mode Strikepoint also deserves a mention, a 4v4 one-life mode that delivers a completely different flavor of Battlefield. It's a high-stakes, squad-based game mode that contrasts nicely with the large-scale chaos of traditional gameplay. Overall, Season 1's multiplayer offerings, from weapons to Strikepoint, all feel like confident steps forward with the core Battlefield audience in mind. But as we move on, that consistency doesn't always carry over into the rest of the update. Beyond new maps and weapons, Season 1's bigger story is how it finally kicks off Battlefield 6's full live service model, introducing a Battle Pass system, cosmetic store, progression reworks, and more. It almost feels like a bit of a sleight of hand, dazzling players with great new content, while quietly rolling out sweeping changes to progression, challenges, currencies, and cosmetics. In many ways, we're finally at Battlefield 6 version 1.0. The state EA likely envisioned for release, but held back until players were comfortable with the shift to a live service structure. Now, none of this reinvents the wheel, but it's a massive shift for the franchise. The Battle Pass itself is your standard model, just broken into segments you can complete in any order. Progression focuses heavily on challenges that reward Battle Pass points, similar to 2042, and the menus somehow got even more cluttered. But the bigger concern for me comes from an aesthetic standpoint. I'm not convinced the developers have nailed down what they want this game to look like. Some cosmetics are minimal and grounded, others are goofy or out of place, and only a handful actually fit Battlefield's tone. A lot of the game's new visuals, from cosmetics to maps like Fort Linden, remind me of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and not in a good way. That same overtly clean plastic aesthetic breaks immersion and makes things just feel undercooked. Compared to the rich, gritty realism of past titles, or even the creativity of other franchises, some of these visuals just fall flat. The lighting in particular feels washed out even on Ultra 4K settings, possibly due to the lack of ray tracing. Many of the cosmetics and Battle Royale environments feel flat, lacking the depth or textures of something like Blackwell Fields. The result is a game that feels disjointed, like you're bouncing between a beta and a full release. And while I do appreciate the more creative cosmetic options, a lot of them feel physically weak, lacking presence, polish, and that signature Battlefield grittiness. oddly enough, I often find myself preferring some of 2042's older designs with heftier, more well-rendered player models. So while the foundation of the live service is finally in place, the execution feels uneven. Some assets look top tier while others feel rushed, and that inconsistency shows the challenges of multiple studios contributing to one project. As someone who's worked as an art director, I'd love to see a stronger creative oversight, quality control, and consistent direction across all cosmetics and UI elements would go a long way making the live service feel more cohesive rather than piecemeal. Alright, let's talk about the addition everyone's been holding their breath for, the Redacted Sector Battle Royale. As someone who was genuinely excited for another big Battlefield experiment with a last squad standing mode, I've got to be honest, right now it feels a little underdeveloped. It's not bad, and there's definitely potential here, but it feels a bit amateurish compared to the polish of the rest of the game. It's rough around the edges, more like a prototype than a fully fleshed out experience. The Battle Royale currently plays like an indie reskin of Warzone, with the addition of vehicles and destruction. It's missing the theatrics of Warzone and the depth of a modern extraction shooter. Its pacing is odd, the loot system is sparse, and the map feels a little barren. Visibility and footstep audio still cause problems, and the graphical downgrade from the main title is a little jarring. It honestly feels like switching to a totally different title. That said, there are moments of greatness. The destruction is as spectacular as ever, and the gunplay remains pretty solid. When a fight comes together, it's exciting, but those moments are rushed by the ever-moving Ring of Fire. And to me, that's the biggest issue, that constantly moving Ring of Fire. It moves too consistently for my liking, forcing every firefight into a mad dash rather than allowing more tactical pacing or meaningful engagements. In my eyes, it kills any sense of strategy and makes every round feel chaotic rather than suspenseful, although I'm sure there's plenty of arguments to keep it. Also, the intro cinematic could use a serious overhaul. The Chinooks flying through the smoke is a cool touch, but the actual drop sequence lacks polish and spectacle. For a game that wants to sell cosmetics, presentation really matters, and this intro just doesn't sell the fantasy in all that high of a quality. Also, on controller, the full-screen map is just hard to read and clunky to navigate. It needs more opacity and a cleaner UI design for those players. Finally, the loot distribution just feels a little stingy, which adds to that barren, unfinished feel. A Battlefield Battle Royale needs that sandbox element, and RedSec doesn't quite capture that just yet. So overall, the Battle Royale feels like it's still in beta. A good idea with solid potential, but not living up to its promise for me just yet. Now, on the flip side of that, Gauntlet is absolutely incredible. It's exactly the twist on the Battlefield formula I was hoping for, blending competitive structure with that trademark Battlefield chaos by taking the structure of a game like the Finals and applying it to the Battlefield sandbox. The Squad v Squad tournament format works beautifully, putting teamwork, communication, and class synergy at the forefront. And the best part is that there's no gimmick here. It's pure Battlefield gameplay with just a single plate of armor added for balance. It's the Battlefield experience boiled down into a tense, fast-paced tournament. Every match feels earned, every mistake matters, and it's honestly the most fun I've had with the game since release.
That goes down.
One went in, one's in.
We killed one. I see the shots. He's on your side, Jimmy. I killed another one.
Out on the side.
Alright, come on. Hold that ground.
On the, alright, the south side.
Got the second one.
There's like 4 coming in on the south side. Jimmy, gonna need your crossfire on that ping.
Ultimately, Season 1 shines because it offers something for everyone. Traditional fans get an excellent new map in Blackwell Fields, competitive players have Gauntlet and Strikepoint, and those curious about the Battle Royale at least have something new to experiment with. While the live service elements still feel rough and underdeveloped, the core gameplay experience is stronger and more varied than ever. So whether you're sticking with classic multiplayer, testing your skills in Gauntlet, or giving RedSec another shot, Season 1 lays down a strong foundation for the future, even if the quality varies from one piece to the next. But guys, drop those comments below and let me know what you think of the Battle Royale and the entirety of Season 1. And for everything else Battlefield, stay tuned and subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching.